Dumb Husky and his white cat Shizun. Chapter 261. Tianyan Pavilion, guilty. Hearing this, Wuobei Temple's Grand Master Xianjing sighed. Meatbun, as expected, young Master Mo really isn't sect leader Shui's nephew. What an ill-fated relationship. Someone else reacted. Ah, it's him. The surrounding cultivators were confused. What do you mean? It's that boy who came up with the idea of locking Mo Ran in the dog cage, said that person. He's around the same age as Mo Ran and he's also Madame Mo's son. As he pondered, he was suddenly enlightened. He patted his head and said, I get it now. So, you killed them and occupied their nest not because of jealousy but because of hatred. When some people heard this analysis, they felt that it was very reasonable. They all looked at Mo Ran with disdain and pity. If that's the case, then it makes sense. Sigh, a hateful person definitely has a pitiful side. Amidst this discussion, Mu Yanli cleared her throat, and the surroundings immediately quieted down. She said, Young Master Mo, I gathered that you were not given enough to eat at Jade Wine House and were even mistreated. That madam always beat and scolded you, right? Mo Ran said. Yes. That madam's son is the boy who came up with the idea of locking you in the dog cage. Is that right? That's right. Seeing that their guesses were confirmed, they sighed even more heavily. Sigh, look, as expected, it's because of hatred. He definitely hates that mother and son bitterly. They were right. How could he not hate them? Mo Nian was the same age as him, but he was much healthier because he was the madam's son. No one in the building dared to provoke him. That boy had always been violent and mischievous, and whenever he had nothing to do, he would bully Mo Ran. Whenever he caused trouble, he would often frame Mo Ran. Mo Ran would be the scapegoat for all his dirty deeds. In contrast, Mo Ran was timid. Even if he was wronged, he didn't dare to take revenge on young Master Onion. At that time, he only had one pancake to eat every day. If he dared to ask more, he was afraid that even this last bit of food would be taken away. Therefore, whether he was beaten, scolded, or wrongly accused, he didn't say a word. If he really couldn't stand it, he would only curl up in the woodshed in the dead of night and quietly cry for a while. He didn't dare to make a sound. If he woke someone up, he would be beaten up again. Mu Yanli asked, Do you resent them? Mo Ran looked up with a sneer in his eyes. What else can I do? Mu Yanli said, But you still taken her surname. You hated her so much, but didn't you ever think of changing it? Mo Ran said, The surname Mo is the surname of those who were sold to the Jade Wine House. Many of us servants used this surname. We all call Madame Mo godmother or mother. Everyone there were named like this and I'm used to it. There's nothing to change. Did she treat each of you that badly? No. Mo Ran said, It's just that she never liked me. Later on, when I let Sun Fengruo ran away, she began to hate me even more. Then how badly did Madame Mo treat you? This was a very easy question to answer. Mo Ran had lived in this building for so many years, but he could only eat a tiny bit of meat on New Year's Eve, which was the half-eaten piece of fatty meat. Other than that, he could only eat a piece of pancake every day. He had to do the heaviest work and if he was not careful, he would be whipped. However, he didn't want to tell this and simply said, I don't want to talk about that. All right. It's fine. Then let's talk about something else. Mu Yanli continued, Because she treated you so badly, when she asked you about Mo Nian's whereabouts, did you lie? Do you already have your own plans in mind? Mo Ran said, No. How could he have dared to lie back then? His life, clothes, and food were all in the hands of the madam. So, when he heard the madam's question, little Mo Ran was like a dog that had been beaten and scolded. He first shrank back and then quietly said, Young Master Nian went to the school. Madame Mo knew her son the best. How could that be? That boy didn't like to study. He had most likely gone somewhere to play. But Mr. Bao was still sitting next to her. She lightly coughed and nodded. Ah, that child of mine is so serious and sensible. Mr. Look, he went to another class. Mr. Bao smiled. That's right. Being diligent and eager to learn is a good thing. How about this? I'll first write a letter to the sect leader of Shi Shengpeak. When the time comes, they'll naturally recognize each other. There's no rush. Madame Mo stood up and excitedly bowed. Many thanks, Mr. In the future, I definitely won't forget Mr.'s kindness. After Mr. Bao left, Madame Mo sat there in a daze for a long time. She was endlessly lost in reverie and emotion. Sometimes she would cry, sometimes she would laugh. After a long time of being in a daze, she noticed Mo Ran standing in the corner looking at her with some fear. She probably saw something too similar to her own experience in Duan Yuhan. Or perhaps it was because Mo Ran was so daring that he actually let go of her money tree. But no matter what the reason was, it was just like as Mo Ran remembered. She didn't like this child, and her dislike was growing. She glared at him. What are you looking at? Little Mo Ran hurriedly lowered his long eyelashes. I'm sorry. You're saying sorry, but in your heart, you were thinking that it's ridiculous for me to cry and laugh like this. Seeing that he didn't say anything and only obediently lowered his head, Madame Mo glanced back and forth at him. She disdainfully said, Forget it, I won't argue with you. What do you know? You're just a dog who doesn't know how to be grateful. Mo Ran had long been used to Madame calling him a dog, so he lowered his head and didn't say anything. Madame Mo said, Don't just stand there. I'm in a good mood today, so I won't hit you. You go find young Master Nian, don't worry, I know he's not at the school, and bring him back. I have something important to tell him. Go quickly. Hearing that he was going to find young Master Nian, Mo Ran subconsciously trembled. But in the end, he obediently nodded and whispered, Yes, Godmother. Don't call me Godmother anymore. Madame Mo wrinkled her nose. This jade wine house. I'll be there soon. Forget it, I won't talk to you anymore. You go first. That evening, according to the Madame's instructions, Mo Ran anxiously looked for young Master Nian in the vicinity of Jade Wine House. He didn't know whether he wanted to find this person quickly or slowly. Because if he found him, he would undoubtedly be scolded by young Master Nian for ruining his good mood. But if he didn't find him, when he returned, Madame Mo would also blame him in every way possible, dismissing him as useless. His small figure walked helplessly under the setting sun. At that time, Mo Ran didn't know that his fate was about to be reversed with that of young Master Nian. He searched one place at a time. He went to all the places that young Master Nian frequented: the river bank, the betting house, the brothel, the cockfighting yard, and in each place, he would be ridiculed and chased away. Finally, he asked around and found out that young Master Nian went to a mill on the outskirts of the city with a group of ill-reputed friends that afternoon. It was said that he was carrying a huge sack. Mo Ran didn't think too much about it and hurried to the mill. That mill had long been abandoned and was surrounded by cemeteries. Usually, there was no one there. Mo Ran trotted all the way. Before he got close, he heard a commotion coming from inside the mill. A group of disheveled youths rushed out, led by young Master Nian, who was tying his belt. Mo Ran hurriedly said, Young Master, Godmother is calling you back. She said. He didn't finish his sentence. Because he found that the group of youths' faces were overflowing with a kind of fear of impending disaster. A few of them were so scared that they were crying, shrinking to the side and shivering. Mo Ran was stunned for a moment. Years of being bullied and humiliated had made him develop a sense of foreboding. When he saw young Master Nian's blood-red eyes staring at him, he immediately shuddered and turned to run. Young Master Nian reacted extremely quickly and shouted, Catch him! How could Mo Ran be a match for these youths? In a few moves, he was pressed to the ground and twisted in front of young Master Nian. Someone said in a low voice, "What do we do, Nian? We're in trouble. It's too late to escape. This kid saw us. Why don't we also?" Mo Ran had no idea what they were talking about, but these young faces were ferocious and fierce, giving off the impression of the word malicious spirit. Young Master Nian narrowed his eyes. He was the calmest and gloomiest of these people. He thought for a moment and said, "Don't kill him." Mo Ran raised his head in horror. Kill? These people had beaten him, bullied him, and humiliated him before, but he had never thought that the word kill could come from the mouths of a group of 14 or 15-year-old youths. For a moment, he was at a loss and couldn't even react. Young Master Nian said, "Lock him in the mill." The surrounding group of people looked at each other in dismay. Then, a youth with a protruding mouth and monkey cheeks was the first to react. His eyes were shining, his nose was still flowing with thick snot, and his face was flushed red. He said in a shrill voice, "Good, good. Good idea." One after another, people understood. Ah. So that's what he meant. Nian is still the best. These people originally stared at Mo Ran as if they were staring at a mortal enemy with a blood feud. But now, their eyes fell on him like a pack of starving wolves staring at a fat lamb. Mo Ran was pushed into the mill without any explanation. He first banged on the door and struggled, but the door was quickly blocked. There were no windows in the mill, only ragged sunlight seeping in through the cracks of the broken wooden boards. Mo Ran shouted, "Let me out! Let me out!" Someone outside shouted, "Go and report it to the authorities. Quickly report it to the authorities. Quick, quick. We'll watch from here. Be fast, go and report it to the authorities." Mo Ran shouted for a while and hammered on the door for a while, but found that it wouldn't open no matter how he shouted or banged on it, so he gave up. He turned around in a daze and saw another person lying in the room with the help of the dusky rays of light. It was a girl. She looked familiar. Later, he remembered that she was the daughter of the tofu seller on East Street. Young Master Nian had been pestering her all this time. This girl's clothes had been torn to shreds, and her young and naked body was lying alone on the ground. Her hands and feet were spread out, and her body was mottled with bruises. Her private parts were even more in a mess. She had been raped to death by this group of animals. When she died, her eyes were still wide open, the tears on her cheeks had not dried, and her eyes were empty and lifeless. She stared in the direction of Mo Ran, staring at the door. Mo Ran was stunned for a moment, and then suddenly screamed. His back hit the door with a bang and his pupils shrank. He finally understood what those people outside had done and what they were going to do. It turned out that young Master Nian had repeatedly tried to be nice to the girl, but she rejected him, so he came up with an evil plan. He knew that the girl was a soft persimmon, and that her family had no background, so she was easy to bully. So, he and a few of his companions brought her to the mill and had defiled her in turn. The girl's body was weak and that group of bastards was very rough. In the end, the girl died in the middle of it. Mo Ran murmured, "No, no." He turned around and began to madly pound on the door. "Open the door. Open the door. Not me. Open the door." As if hearing his pleas, the door of the mill suddenly opened. Mo Ran wanted to rush out, but his hands were violently held down by the group of teenagers. The leader was young Master Nian. He was vicious and merciless. I almost forgot. Make it look more realistic. He then ordered his companions to strip off Mo Ran's clothes. Then he smeared some blood and other bodily fluids from the girl's body and smeared it on Mo Ran's body. During this process, Mo Ran kept crying and struggling, but the group of teenagers was too strong. Their desire to live suppressed everything. Their eyes flashed with a beast-like light. Whether it was the child's pleas or complaints, They all turned a deaf ear. One of them even raised his hand to slap Mo Ran several times after being bitten by him. He fiercely said, "Shut the fuck up. You're a murderer. A rapist. With so many people as witnesses, how can you still say it's not?" "No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me." But no matter how much he resisted, what could he do? They beat his body until it was black and blue. They threw him into the mill and locked him naked with the dead girl. Then called and reported to the magistrate. Mo Ran couldn't defend himself. In the magistrate office, he was severely punished with 30 strikes. His skin was lacerated and his flesh was badly mutilated. Then he was sent to prison to wait for the final sentence. The prisoners in the same cell all ridiculed and cursed him. Several of the prisoners with daughters heard about his behavior and couldn't help but beat him. Some even wanted to rape him. But the prison officer didn't want the matter to become bigger, so they put a stop to it. Madame Mo came that night. She already knew the whole story. She was angry at her son for not living up to her expectations. But, so what? As a mother, she would always protect her child. She was afraid that when the trial began, the officials would investigate impartially. If they found out that her Mo Nian was the culprit, how could she and her son leap onto the branch and become phoenixes? Mr. Bao Wen's letter had already been sent out. Shi Sheng Peak sect would send people to pick them up. She had waited for so many years that her hair had already turned white. Whether it was glory or status, she and her child deserved it. She couldn't allow any mistakes. That was why she had rushed all the way here and bribed the jailer and the officials with money, begging them to turn a blind eye and put all the blame on Mo Ran. But probably because of her conscience, after Madame Mo finished bribing the jail officials, she came to the prison to see Mo Ran. She also brought a bowl of red braised pork for Mo Ran. "There's no poison. I won't poison you." Mo Ran shrank in the corner and looked at her. His pair of dark purple eyes flashed with fatigue, helplessness, grief, and pain. It was the kind of expression a person would have when they were about to be slaughtered. Fear and sadness. But there was also a calm after despair. All of a sudden, Madame Mo felt her heart tremble a little. She was shocked and afraid of her own emotions. She suddenly got up and lowered her voice. She hardened her heart and said, "Anyway, you are a child without parents. Although you are pitiful, no one will be sad if you die. I have raised you for so many years. It's time for you to repay my kindness." Mo Ran didn't say anything. Madame Mo gritted her teeth and said, "This bowl of red braised pork is my farewell gift to you. If you eat it, don't blame me in the underworld. I have no choice." After she finished speaking, she turned around and left. Mo Ran had never eaten red braised pork in his life. Now, there was a bowl in front of him. He stared at it for a while but didn't eat it. He turned the bowl upside down on the ground. The gravy flowed out. He stared at it for a while. Thinking about the blood flowing under the girl's body, he suddenly felt unspeakable nausea. He turned around and vomited violently. But there was nothing he couldn't vomit. He was a person who only ate one pancake a day. The pancake had already been digested. What he vomited was only stomach acid. That night, he couldn't sleep. The blood all over his body formed a shell. The blood shell gradually became brittle and hard. When touched, it fell to the ground like rust powder. He didn't talk to the other prisoners in the prison. No one knew what he was thinking. No one knew whether he was dead or alive. He curled up alone. Slowly, he figured out a lot of things. In that dark and dirty prison, in that room filled with sour smell and the aroma of red braised pork, the honest Mo Ran died. The one who came back to life was Taxian Jun, who made the whole world of cultivators tremble in fear his very first appearance. Later on, the monstrous hatred that was magnified by the 8 suffering and everlasting hatred flower was the result of this. End chapter. Dumb Husky and his white cat Shizun. Chapter 262. Tianyan Pavilion, a comedy drama. Xiongtan prison was old and simple. Early the next morning, Mo Ran took advantage of the fact that the prisoners in the prison were being interrogated to sneak out. After regaining his freedom, the first thing he did was return to Jade Wine House. As soon as he entered the backyard, he saw Anian wearing a black cultivator robe, standing proudly in the middle of the sunning ground. The trouble he caused would be resolved the same way as before. That orphan called Mo Ran would take the blame for him, so he firmly believed that he was fine. In any case, you don't have a father or a mother. No one will be sad if you die. I've raised you for so many years. It's time for you to repay me. This was the reason they sent an innocent person to the gallows. Mo Ran stood in the shadows, standing in the dark, looking at the confident and relaxed young Master Nian. So, this was how it was like having someone to dote on you, love you, and have a mother to protect you. Even if the sky falls, someone will hold it up. Only I don't deserve to die alone. Mo Ran looked at him for a long time. Young Master Nian had already bought a Taoist robe and dressed as a cultivator. After his mother sold Jade Wine House, he would set off to the lower cultivation world to be a young master. At this time, he was pretending to wield a sword in the courtyard, surrounded by a group of youths. They were the accomplices who framed Mo Ran. Anian, good swordsmanship. You're really brave. Once you go to the lower cultivation world, you'll definitely be a great sword immortal. Your uncle at Shisheng Peak seems to be very powerful these past 2 years. You'll be in luck if you go there. Don't forget about us brothers. That's right, that's right. Someone echoed, Anian, you mustn't forget about us. We grew up together. We'll take care of all the good and bad things for you. Even the death of that little bitch from the tofu shop. At this time, Anian had already regarded his status as very high and would not allow anyone to mention the fact that he had raped a young girl. When he heard that person say this, he immediately pointed his sword at that person's throat and said angrily, the death of that girl from the tofu shop was caused by Mo Ran. That day, we saw it with our own eyes. He was possessed by a beast, devoid of conscience, and molested her. How many times do I have to say this before you remember? With the sword pointed at him, the boy trembled and quickly said, yes, it's my bad memory. I was wrong. The others quickly tried to calm Anian down. It's all that Mo Ran's fault. He's worse than a dog. That's right. He raped and then killed a woman. We all saw it. We will never forget his demonic face for the rest of our lives. The few of them tried to deepen the lie they had made up. Some people were like this. After telling a lie 1,000 times, even they would believe it themselves. The more they said it, the more righteous they felt. The more they said it, the more they felt that they were innocent. Anian laughed and waved his sword a few times. He chopped the scarecrow a few times and cut it to the ground. He pointed his sword at the scarecrow and said in high spirits, watch me become a sword immortal. I will slay demons. Punishing evil that. He did not like to study and always skipped classes. Thus, halfway through his speech, he paused. A youth beside him immediately continued, punishing evil and promoting good. Upholding justice. Helping the world. Anian snorted and said disdainfully, you're the best at talking. That person did not expect to hit Anian's leg. He could not help but feel awkward. Anian waved his sword a few more times and said, helping the world requires strength, not that stupid tongue of yours. From now on, if I meet a pervert like Mo Ran again, I can cut off his head with one strike of my sword. What can you do with him? Recite poetry? Ha 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 ha. Before he could finish laughing, a leisurely voice suddenly came from the firewood in the backyard. Someone clapped twice crisply and then said, that's right. Young Master Nian, You really are the young master Shi Shengpeak, how impressive. Onion suddenly blocked in front of him with his sword. His expression changed instantly and he said sternly, Mo Ran. A huge cloud slowly flowed across the sky, gradually covering the scorching sun and casting a huge shadow on the sun-drying field. The shabbily dressed youth appeared like an eagle on the pile of firewood in the sun-drying field and slowly raised his head. Although his face was thin, if one looked carefully, his facial features were very handsome. At this time, his eyes were burning. There was still a hideous whip mark on his brow bone. He had just broken out of prison and had not yet wiped off the blood stains on his face. Looking at this face, Onion only felt that it was both familiar and unfamiliar. The person in front of him was indeed Mo Ran, but there also seemed to be something wrong. Mo Ran's eyes curved, smiling as he stroked the machete in his hand. His dimples were like two stormy seas, like a cold jade pond. There was an indescribable intimacy and docility, as well as an indescribable creepiness in him. Upholding justice and helping the world? Young Master Mo Nian, the future greatsword immortal, the young master of Shi Shengpeak. When did you have this kind of ambition? You really are going to make me laugh to death, ha 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 ha. The more he spoke, the more brilliant his smile became, and the more twisted his face became. Ever since he was young, this child in charge of the firewood shed had always been obedient and quiet, resigning himself to his fate and not saying much. But after not seeing him for a night, he was like a moth that had broken out of its cocoon. His smile was wanton and flamboyant. Originally, he rarely smiled, and when he did smile, it would be with his lips pursed in a timid manner. But now, he had been driven to madness. The group of youths all retreated in terror. Onion's hand trembled slightly as his Adam's apple bobbed up and down. He braced himself and shouted, Mo Ran, did you eat a leopard's gall or something? You dare to break out of prison? I'll get rid of this evil for the people and take your dog life on behalf of the government. All right. Mo Ran laughed wantonly. A glint flashed in his eyes. I don't want to live like this anymore. If you have the ability to take my dog life, then take it. But if you don't, then... He didn't even finish his sentence before he rushed over. Just as the light and shadow disappeared, the machete fell. The long sword in Onion's hand fell to the ground with a clang. Along with his head, which has its eyes wide open as it rolled to the ground. Blood spurted out, spraying several meters high. Onion's headless body swayed for a moment before crashing to the ground. For a moment, there was complete silence. Mo Ran's face was covered in blood. His tattered clothes hung on his body, fluttering in the wind, like seaweed floating in the sea. When he raised his head again, the smile on his face was even wider and his eyes were bloodshot. He licked the blood that splashed on his lips and in a warm voice, he finished his sentence, then let me take your head. The youths were so scared that they couldn't say a word. Mo Ran raised his eyes, his gaze cold. Aren't you all very powerful? Aren't you all very good at playing the blame game? Aren't you all very good at fighting? Eliminating evil and upholding justice, punishing evil and upholding good, good. Come at me together. None of them dared to go up. Their legs trembled like a sieve and they were scared witless. None of them could believe that this was Mo Ran? Was it that subservient Mo Ran, who would never say a word no matter how much he was wronged? Mo Ran raised his head and sighed. Then, he dragged his machete and walked forward step by step. The tip of the machete drew a line of blood on the ground. Why are you suddenly so modest? He smiled slightly and raised the machete. The corners of his mouth curled up. Since you all don't want to make a move, then I can only go first. In an instant, there was a rain of blood. It was a slaughter. At this time, the establishment was still closed. Most of the people in the Jade Wine House were resting. After Mo Ran killed the people in the back courtyard, he went to the side room and killed the remaining people one by one. Some people had their throats slit in their sleep. Some people only saw the flash of the machete when they woke up. By the time everyone reacted, it was already too late. Moran set fire everywhere, turning the jade wine house into a sea of flames. The entertainers screamed and cried, but no one dared to rush into the sea of flames to save them. After killing the last few people, Moran had enough with taking people's lives. Amidst the flames, he sat down in the middle of the hall. He smiled and looked at the people whose legs were cut off by him, unable to move. Among them was his godmother, Madame Mo. Moran looked at them writhing and twitching like maggots. Tears and snot flowed on their faces. His face became blurred in the thick smoke and fire. The machete was placed across his knees. He picked up the handle but did not cut them. Instead, he used the tip of the machete to pick up a bunch of fresh grapes on the table. Holding them in his hand, he slowly peeled and removed the stalks. Then, one by one, he slowly put them into his mouth and chewed. Suddenly, he smiled and said, "Oh, this is really delicious. Growing up, I have never eaten grapes from the western regions. So, what you eat every day is this kind of good food." He lowered his head and stared blankly for a while. Then, he laughed and said, "I'm really envious." A section of the roof beam was burned down and fell with a loud crash. Sparks flew everywhere, burning and falling beside them. Everyone let out more mournful whimpers. Only Moran was still sitting calmly. He held his chin, crossed his legs, and hugged his machete. He ate his bunch of grapes diligently, as if the sky falling down had nothing to do with him. The fire was so big, none of us can get out. After eating the grapes, Moran picked up a peach. While eating that, he smiled and said, "Why don't we just sit here and chat?" Madame Mo shouted, "Who wants to chat with you? You beast! You're worse than a pig or a dog. You're worse than a beast. You don't want to chat." Moran spat out the grape seed and smiled, "If you don't want to chat, then forget it. Then let's get down to business. Last night, Godmother also said that for the past 10 years, I am indebted to you and that Godmother took good care of me. Now, I should be filial. So, let me send you all on your way." He stood up and walked around those people. Then, he bowed respectfully and said, "But don't go too far on the road to the Yellow Springs. Wait for me." The others cried. Madame Mo screamed, "Moran! You bastard! At that time, Xiaosun pitied you and kindly took you in. I shouldn't have agreed to her out of kindness. You're a disaster, you're a jinx. You perverted beast. You think you're worthy of mentioning Sunji?" Moran said indifferently, "At that time, I came all the way from Wuobei Temple to fulfill my mother's last wish and return her favor. She knew that I lost my mother, so she gave you all the money she earned in a year, hoping that you would let me stay and have a place to stay. She is my benefactor, but what about you? You're nothing. I shouldn't have agreed to her. I shouldn't have what's a year's worth of money. Later, you secretly let her go. She is the main earner of Jade Wine House. Do you know how much money she earns from one song? But you actually, you." Moran interrupted her, "She is my mother's benefactor and also my benefactor. She sold her art in Jade Wine House, not her body. But you took money from a rich merchant, so you betrayed her and forced her to entertain guests. Tell me, why shouldn't I let her go? All these years, you hated me. You tortured me. But I didn't say a word. I didn't fight back. Because my mother told me that anyone who can feed me can't be bad." Moran closed his eyes. "So, I've been holding back. I've been holding back. Bah! You still have the face to say that? You ungrateful thing, it's me. It's me who gave you a place to stay, who let a little beggar like you have food to eat and a bed to sleep in. You beast, you bastard son of a bitch. What a coincidence. Bastard son of a bitch. Moran laughed in the firelight. You scold me like this, if your son hears it in the underworld, won't he think that you're calling for him? As Moran spoke, he walked over and pinched Madame Mo's powdered face. But, godmother, you reminded me. All these years, you've given me food to eat and a bed to sleep in, so I really have to thank you. Since that's the case, I'll send you off first. You. But, to liven things up, why don't we play a game first? Moran said excitedly, what do you think of blind people guessing the drawing? As he spoke, he picked up a small piece of broken wood on the ground and lit it on fire. Then, he used the wooden stick to draw the shape of the sun in the madame's eyes. Slowly, slowly, he drew the shape of a sun. Wherever the wooden stick passed, the madame's skin was charred. The madame cried out in pain. Godmother, take a guess. What did I draw? If you can't guess, it's your loss, and I'll draw the next thing. That day, the remaining few people were slowly tortured by him one by one and killed bit by bit. He had returned the viciousness and sufferings he had accumulated for the past 10 years. In the jade wine house, corpses and bones were strewn everywhere. Everything was scorched to earth. In the end, he lay in the fire with those twisted corpses. Looking at the crumbling pavilion, he smiled and put pastries and fruits into his mouth. Delicious. He paused and suddenly smiled bitterly. His eyelashes fluttered and tears rolled down his face, flowing down his smiling face. He reached out and covered his eyes, crying and laughing at the same time as he said, it's a pity that I won't be able to eat it in the future. The ebony red plaque of the jade wine house fell and smashed in front of the hall, breaking into pieces. Smoke billowed and the richly ornamented building finally collapsed with a loud crash. In this building, people were used to seeing people playing, singing, dancing, and drinking. It was once a glorious place for entertainment. But now, yesterday's glamour was gone, and the extravagance of the past had turned into ashes. The love between men and women, the entanglement of love and hatred, were all burning and falling in pieces beam after beam. The raging fire burned and the celestial sound of the two courtesans dueling seemed to float out from the cracks of the wood, from the cracks of the tiles. Duan Yuhan sang, such a beautiful family like flowers. Sun Fengruo sang, all paid for the ruins. This famous building in Xiangtan was buried in this faint and ethereal music. The curtain fell and the long drum music finally came to an end. Those sorrowful and gorgeous memorials came to a glorious and solemn end in this raging fire. End chapter. Dumb Husky and his white cat Shizun. Chapter 263. Tianyan Pavilion, the nightmare repeats itself. Moran's confession ended. For a moment, no one within the loyalty hall made a sound. What was right and what was wrong? Who was right and who was wrong? Although everyone had their own thoughts, they could not say for sure. Moran did not look at the faces of Xue Zhenyang and his family. He lowered his eyelashes and said after a while, that year, I thought I was going to die in that fire. But when I woke up, I found myself lying on a bed in Shisheng Peak. That Mr. Bao Wen was sitting by my bed. When he saw me wake up, he pressed on my shoulder and told me that from that day on, I was a young master at the Shisheng Peak. He paused and chuckled. That I was uncle's nephew. The floor of Loyalty Hall was embroidered with a blooming palya. Moran looked at the colorful flowers with an indifferent expression. That Mr. Bao Wen was afraid that he would not be rewarded. So, when uncle saved me from the burning jade wine house and asked him anxiously if this was the boy he was looking for, he nodded. Moran continued, his nod changed my fate. Master Xianjing sighed. Meatbun. Benefactor Mo, how can you be at ease? After so many years, have you never thought of telling the truth to sect leader Xue? How could I not? When I first woke up, I was very uneasy and wanted to tell the truth. Moran's eyes were a little hazy, as if he was looking at the years that had passed. But when he heard that I had woken up, Uncle, came to see me. Auntie personally cooked noodles for me. I remember that there were 3 poached eggs, all sweetened and covered with minced meat. She told me that, she was afraid that I would not be able to digest it since I had just woken up, so she chopped it up to make it easier for me to swallow. Shuemeng also came and gave me a whole box of pastries. He slowly closed his eyes. I ate that bowl of noodles and those pastries. I couldn't bring himself to say the truth. They smiled at me and treated me so well. If I told them that I was the one who set the Jade Wine House on fire and that I killed their nephew and sister-in-law, what would happen? Mo Ran said softly. I could not say it. The words would got stuck in my throat. The more I think about it, the more I don't know what to say. Master Xianjing sighed. I know what kind of person Mo Nian is. His character is lazy and frivolous. At first, I wasn't sure how much Uncle knew about him, so I did my best to imitate him. Later, I found out that Uncle didn't know, so I stopped acting like him. Mo Ran paused for a moment before slowly continuing, I have a blood debt with the Mo family. But in the end, I was claimed by their family. Everyone at Shisheng Peak was at a loss. Many of the disciples and elders who had interacted with Mo Ran stood there in a daze, their hearts filled with mixed feelings. Xue Zhenyang and Madame Wang didn't say anything. They stared blankly at Mo Ran's back. They had watched this child grow up from an inexperienced youth to a grand master of a generation. But now, they were told that everything was wrong from the beginning. Mo Ran was not their nephew. What was more, there was a blood feud between them. What should they say? What should they do? Xue Zhenyang didn't know, and Madame Wang also didn't know. They had never seen Mo Ran. All of their feelings of guilt and longing for their dead brother had been placed on this child called Mo Ran. They didn't know who he was, but they had touched Mo Ran's hair, held his hand and had been called uncle and auntie by Mo Ran. Xue Zhenjiang's heart was in chaos. In the silence, Mu Yanli said, Mo Ran, although you are pitiful, you have committed many crimes. You cannot be easily forgiven. Do you know how many sins you have committed? Mo Ran had never liked the Tianyan pavilion. He closed his eyes and didn't reply. Mu Yanli looked at him disdainfully. Her voice rang out like a bell. You willfully killed mortals, set fire to an establishment, used false identities and pretended to be someone else. On Mount Qiao, you clearly knew that the Nangong family's blood flowed in your veins, but you coldly watched from the sidelines. You had unfathomable motives. On Gaiyuye sect, you started a massacre, spilling blood in their hall. I'll say it again. I didn't kill those people on Gaiyuye sect. After the gate of time and space, life and death opened, 2 lives intersected. That person wasn't me. The gate of time and space, life and death is the #1 forbidden art. No one has successfully done this technique for thousands of years. Don't you think your excuse is too absurd? Said Mu Yanli coldly. Could it be that as the Nangong family's descendant, you were unsatisfied and your ambition swelled, and you wanted to plot against the upper and lower cultivation worlds? Pavilion Master Mu's words are too exaggerated. Zhang Shi couldn't help but frown. In my opinion, Mo Ran doesn't have any motive to subvert the upper and lower cultivation worlds. If he wanted to do such a thing, he could have easily done it back on Mount Qiao and the 10 great sects would have suffered disastrous losses. There are many doubtful points about these things. Before the facts are clear, please be careful with your words. Mu Yanli coldly looked at him. Sect Master Zhang, you don't have to speak for him. Even if he didn't intend to subvert the cultivation world, with the crimes he committed before, it's enough to send him to the Tianyan pavilion for interrogation. When she finished speaking, she raised her hand and ordered the guards behind her. Arrest Mo Ran and take him away. Wait a minute. Mu Yanli glanced sideways at Xue Zhenyang. Sect leader Xue, do you have something to say? Xue Zhenjiang's face turned green and red. He didn't seem to understand why he stopped Mu Yanli. After so many years, it had become a habit for him to treat Mo Ran as his own son. He couldn't just sit and watch the Tianyan pavilion take him away. But what should he say? Should he ask him to stay? Xue Zhenyang closed his eyes, his teeth chattering. He felt cold and empty in his heart, as if something important had been gouged out. He buried his face in his palms. He had always been hale and hearty, but at this moment, he looked old and hunched. Sect leader Xue, do you want to say goodbye to your nephew? Mu Yanli was a mean person. She used the word nephew intentionally or unintentionally, which made Xue Zhenyang tremble like cotton in the wind. Xue Zhenjiang's throat was hoarse. Ran air. Mo Ran. He didn't even know how to address him. Mo Ran didn't make it difficult for him. He closed his eyes, took a few steps forward and kowtowed to Xue Zhenyang without saying a word. 3 kneels and 9 kowtows. Someone muttered, "Why are you dawdling? What are you doing? What a hypocrite." Mo Ran turned a deaf ear to them. After the kowtow, he got up and prepared to leave. However, at this moment, Xue Meng suddenly rushed into the loyalty hall. His long chen was covered in black blood. He was extremely agitated. He shouted, "Outside! What's going on? A large number of Zhenlong chess pieces are attacking outside. Many of them are former elites of the Rufeng sect." Everyone was terrified. They rushed out of the hall. At Shisheng Peak, above the clouds, countless cultivators were flying on their swords. Their robes fluttered in the wind. Half of these people were wearing black robes and veils, while the other half were wearing feathered robes with silk covering their eyes. They were the corpses from the hero's tomb of the Rufeng sect. What's going on? Didn't Nangong Si sink these corpses at the bottom of Mount Xiao? Why are they all here again? Who undid the barrier? As soon as the words were heard, they already had an answer in their minds. Who undid the barrier? Who else could undo the Nangong family's barrier? Many angry gazes were focused on Mo Ran. Although Mo Ran knew who the mastermind was, he couldn't deny it. What was worse was that he had not recovered his spiritual powers yet. He couldn't stop the Zhenlong chess pieces. He could only watch as hundreds and thousands of them descended. Just like what happened in Shisheng Peak from the other life. In an instant, fish and dragons flipped over and turned into a sea of blood. It turned out that the surprise Shi Mei mentioned wasn't over yet. Fight them first. Repel this wave of Zhenlong chess pieces. Repel them first. Everyone came out of the hall to welcome them. However, because they didn't expect this change and because these Zhenlong chess pieces came without warning, many were panicking. Mo Ran stood in front of the hall and watched the Zhenlong chess pieces landed. They fought with the disciples of Shisheng Peak and resisted the spells of the cultivators who came out to fight. Silver blue light armor and black cloaks fought in a chaotic battle. He stood on the jade stairs, his eyebrows twitching. Everything in front of him was like a replay from what happened in his other life. In that life, it was him who controlled the chess pieces comprising of both the dead and the living. He killed all the people who dared to say no to him at Shisheng Peak. It was also from that moment on that he became used to killing people like flies. He was already used to treating people's lives like they were mere grass, but he wasn't used to killing in mass number yet. He still remembered that he also stood in front of the loyalty hall like this. The traitor disciple Mo Weiyu looked down at the crowd of heroes with a smile on his face. Beside his shows were the still cooling bodies of Xue Zhenyang and Madame Wang. From Shisheng Peak, use your blood to pave the way for me. The sneer from his previous life was still in his ears. Mo Ran's eyelids twitched. He shouted at Xue Meng, "Don't fight, you can't win. Go, run, all of you." It was too noisy. Xue Meng was too far away to hear him. Mo Ran looked around. Around him, swords and knives were clashing. It was a chaotic battle. He saw Jiangxi fighting with more than 10 chess pieces. At that moment, he thought of how Jiangxi fell under his knife in his previous life. You don't want to kneel to me? No. You won't recognize me as the emperor? No. He raised his hand and slashed. Blood splattered every which way. He couldn't win. Mo Ran watched as the palace master of the Kunlun Taxia Palace lowered his eyes and played the Suan. The sound pierced through the 9 heavens, causing the awareness of the chess pieces to blur and waver unsteadily. He recalled how he destroyed his hands, breaking all the bones and tendons of the palace master of Kunlun Taxia Palace. Why are you so stubborn? I am the sect leader of the Kunlun Taxia Palace. Although I can't guarantee the safety of the sect, I won't run away. The Sun broke into pieces. He couldn't win. As the chaos raged, Mo Ran saw Madame Wang and Xue Zhenyang fighting the enemies from afar. What flashed before his eyes were the two of them from the other life, whose eyes were filled with grief and anger. Staring at him through 2 lifetimes, resenting him. Cold. It was really cold. Mo Ran's muscles and bones were shivering. His fingertips were cold. Shi Mei did this, he did this. Previously, he felt that Shi Mei's threat before taking Chu Wanning away could not be taken lightly. That was why he decided to return to Shisheng Peak. At this moment, he couldn't help but feel numb. If he didn't listen to Shi Mei's threat and insisted on chasing Chu Wanning back, what would have happened? Half of the key people of the cultivation world was all here. If they all died at Shisheng Peak for no reason, what would have happened? Shi Mei's arrangement was so well connected that he didn't even have time to breathe. Mo Ran looked up and saw Zhenlong chess pieces all over the mountain, living dead who were not afraid of death and pain, mountains of corpses, seas of blood, ghosts and monsters. He couldn't let it go on like this. He couldn't go on like this. Shi Mei said that this was a surprise for him. Then he wouldn't have done this for no reason. Since he had returned and obeyed, there must be a way to solve this problem. He couldn't watch the old nightmare repeat itself. He couldn't watch the Shisheng Peak be destroyed. He couldn't watch his uncle and aunt die in front of him. If he let what happened in the other life occurred again, how could he face himself, and how could he face Chu Wanning? Mo Ran suddenly came back to his senses. He pushed through the crowd and ran towards his uncle and aunt. Stop fighting. Leave this place first. Leave this place first. Stop fighting. There's no way you can win. His voice was hoarse and his eyes were about to burst. He was like a person sinking in the ocean, struggling with all his strength to reach the other side. He was like a dead person struggling to reach the living. He was like a moth struggling to reach the flame. He was struggling to reach the other life. Stop fighting. Hurry up and leave, all of you. You can't win. You can't win. I've already seen how you die with my own eyes before. Run, I beg of you. Suddenly, a sword blocked his way. The sword light was cold. Looking over, it was Mu Yanli's cold face. Are you trying to take advantage of the chaos to escape? Mo Ran said angrily, get out of my way. You're already a serious criminal in the cultivation world. I should. As she spoke, Mu Yanli felt a chill on her back. She turned around and saw a masked chess piece swinging his sword. She quickly turned around to face the attack. Her eyes were full of killing intent. She shouted, Mo Ran. You're really the one behind this. This woman's voice was clear and bright, like an ice spring. It was very easy to hear her. Her voice attracted the attention of the surrounding cultivators. They saw that the chess piece was fighting fiercely with Mu Yanli, but they didn't touch Mo Ran at all. Only then did the crowd realize that almost all of the chess pieces at Shisheng Peak seemed to regard Mo Ran as an ally. They all avoided him and didn't hurt him. Someone shouted angrily, it's really that bastard Mo Ran who's behind this. These chess pieces are with him. Faces burning with anger became more and more twisted. Whispers and roars like this filled their ears. Pairs of bloodshot eyes stared at him, overlapping with those from before. Under such angry gazes, he became once again the devil who killed without batting an eyelid. He seemed to have become the emperor who trampled all the immortals and ruled the world, turned everything upside down and viewed the world as if he has gone mad. Someone shouted, "Seize him! Watch him, don't let him escape. Let's see how long he can pretend." His ears buzzed. It was the exact same resentment, the exact same accusation and the exact same campaign. The scenes of the two lives were too similar. He could even remember the life and death battle between himself and Chu Wanning. That day was the same as today. Mo Ran activated the Zhenlong chess formation and controlled the dead, the living, the beasts and birds of prey. His army was like black clouds rolling over like ink. His weapons were like frost peaks reflecting snow. He sat high and looked down with a smile. He watched the world turn upside down, the day turn dim and yellow. In the end, it was Chu Wanning who stopped him. It was Chu Wanning who fought against his millions of chess pieces with all his might. His weapon changed from Tianwen to Juga and from Juga to Huaxia. Huaxia. Mo Ran would never forget the sorrow and pain in Chu Wanning's eyes when he finally summoned Huaxia. "I've heard rumors about Shizun's killing blade. I finally get to see it today." Chu Wanning asked him at that time, "Mo Ran, what do I have to do to make you stop all these?" He just smiled brightly. "I can't stop now. Shizun, my hands are already full of blood. I killed uncle and auntie with my own hands, killed my fellow disciples. Now, as long as I offer your head, I could rule this world. No one will be able to stop me." Chu Wanning's expression was extremely painful. He saw it, but he felt very unhappy. There was a malicious vengeance in his heart. He gritted his teeth and ground out each word. "I'll kill you. There is no one in this world that I cannot kill." End chapter.